Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom.
How is everybody doing? Did anybody have anything good happen this week? Nobody? Nothing good? Okay. We are together tonight, and we have had a series of special services. Last week was the service for the 9th and 10th graders, and it was very beautiful to have them, Robert's class, explain to us about Jews around the world. We're going to be doing other types of not only guest speakers, but I'll cover some of the material that some of you have told me you would like to cover. We had a great visit this week from 6th graders at St. Bruno's Catholic School, and some of what I prepared for them I'm going to share with the school and in some form with all of us in terms of what it means to live as a Jew and how justice gets played out. I would like to call upon Sharon, our co-president, to share a few announcements.
Thank you, Danny. How sweet. Feels so special. Thank you. And welcome. Welcome back. Thank you for doing double duty tonight. We really appreciate that. Good Shabbos, everybody. On behalf of myself and my co-president, Joe Tejas, we want to welcome you in person and virtually to Temple Beth Or. Tonight we also welcome Lee Winkleman as our guest speaker from Ratt, California. It's nice to have you with us. Thank you to Lori. So I'm trying to find everybody. Thank you to Lori, there she is, and the Social Action ICR Committee for organizing everything tonight. So tonight's Life Flowers were sponsored by Rita Rubin in honor of her birthday, and the Oneg Shabbat is sponsored by Eileen in memory of her sister, Leslie Amador Pascas. So thank you very much. Rabbi, thank you for everything that you do for us as well. And Mila and Joe Gordon, thank you. Goran, do I see Joe? There. Oh, sorry, Sergio. Little changes here and there. Thank you for ushering tonight, really appreciate it. Thank you to our wonderful tech team, David, Chris, and Ryan, and also for running the chat on YouTube, Helene and Brandy. Shabbat Shalom greetings from Jeff and Wilma Shear, Ted and Noel Singer, there they are back there, Rita and Bob Ruman, and the Magnella family. On Sunday, November 24th at 7 p.m., we at Temple Beth Or are hosting the Community Thanksgiving service. It's a wonderful opportunity for members of our community to come and share our temple and our surroundings, as well as be a part of the community. We'd like to also invite everybody to join us. Please go on our website and RSVP. And back again, we are doing latkes. This time it's called Latkes and More because we had so much fun last time. Karaoke. There's a few of you in the audience that are looking forward to it, I know. But if you make your reservations before November 29th, there's early bird pricing, so go on the website and do that. And once again, we're supporting the city of La Mirada with their annual toy drive. And you might have noticed the box in the foyer, so we will be collecting new unwrapped toys until December 8th. And if you haven't completed the evaluation we sent out, you have until Sunday to do it, and we appreciate that. The emergency exits are through the back as well as through the doors behind Danny. Shabbat Shalom and have a wonderful weekend.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Sharon. We believe in having the congregation participate in the service, even if it's from your seats. Please turn to page 75. We'll be doing some readings, and I found one that we haven't done recently. So page 75 at the top. Please read with me. May the one whose spirit is with us in every righteous deed be with all who work for the good of humanity and bear the burdens of others, and who give bread to the hungry, who clothe the naked, and take the friendless into their homes. May the work of their hands endure, and may the seed they sow bring abundant harvest. Thank you. We are now ready to begin the Shabbat songs that we love to do every week. Shalom Aleichem, page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharit, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu nish l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Alachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Can anybody hear me? Tonight we're honoring Lori Rosenfeld, our social action ICR chair, with the honor of doing a reading and then reciting the blessing for the Shabbat candles. We've already pre-lit the candle for Israel. Our hearts are connected to our Israeli brothers and sisters. Please rise for the reading and the blessing. Well, the mic is there, and you just pick up the mic. Excuse me. Sorry. Whichever works for you. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. And my mic is not working. That's why I plug this in. Wait. Just push it so the green button comes.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And now our reading.
As the great doors of night are opening, we come into the clean, quiet room of Shabbat. Let us be thankful as we light these candles like eyes of holiness for this moment of peace. Let us savor the fruit of the vine, the blood of the earth that quickens us. Let us be thankful for grain, fruit of grasses that feed the cow, the gazelle, and us. Let us be grateful for the children and the work of the week that are our own fruitfulness. Let us, as we eat, never forget that food comes from the earth we must cherish and heal through labor. We must respect and reward. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. You may be seated. Thank you, Lori. Page 156, I've had another beautiful reading. we're going to read together, but we're not going to do the blessing that's there, because after the English reading, we'll turn to page 20 for Lecha Dodi. Join me if you'd like. Source of all being, we turn to you as did our people in ancient days. They beheld you in the heavens, they felt you in their hearts, they sought you in their lives. Their quest is ours. Help us to see the wonder of being. Give us the courage to search for the truth. Teach us the path to a better life. So shall we, by our lives and our labors, bring nearer the world we envision, one of justice, freedom, and peace. And that's all. Thank you. Please turn to page 20 for Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamichachyan. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, Le'shemo tiferet ve'letilach. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pane Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pane Shabbat Nikabela. Lidkrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki hi mikor hara. Mirosh mikadem nisucha, sof maseh b'machashavtai tehila. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Hitori, hitori, kiva orech komi ori, uri, uri, shir dabiri. Kivod Adonai, alaich negila, Kivod Adonai, alaich negila. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Boi v'shalom ataret bala, gam bil simcha usola. Tuoch emunai am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Lecha Dodi, Lidkrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nikabela. Pene Shabbat Nikabela.
Thank you, Danny. I'd like you to remain standing. We continue with a call to worship, the Baruch Hu. It is found on page 28.
For the Baruch, we're going to share Am I Awake, Baruch, by Noah Aronson. Ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
We read together on page 30. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim bechokma poteach she'arim uvidvuna meshane itim umachalif et hazmanim umesader et hakochavim b'mishmoro tehem berakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech V'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom u'mevi laila, umavdil ben yom u'ven laila, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai ma'ariv aravim. Page 32, Danny will continue.
Limadita, otanu limadita. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachvinu ukuminu nayasiach bechukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu Be'orech yameinu Uvahem nege yomam belayla Nad nege yomam belayla Be'ahavatcha al tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael.
Thank you, Danny. We continue with the Shema. Please rise as we declare our belief in one God, page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivod Malechuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. Dina will lead us in V'ahavta, which appears on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לבביך, ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, לחיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Thank you, Dina. We appreciate everyone stepping in to help us have our service run smoothly. We now continue with Mi Chamocha, page 40.
Hamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi hamocha nedbar kodesh, nora tehilo osef elesh, nora tehilo osef elesh. Yalalai, yalai lai 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 lai. Lai 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 lai. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze Eli anu ve'ameru, ze Eli anu ve'ameru. Ba'elim Adonai, Chamocha nedbar kodesh, nora tehilo osef elesh, nora tehilo osef elesh. Ne'emar kifadash Adonai et Yaakov, alo miyad hazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedbar kodesh, nora tehilo osef elesh, nora tehilo osef elesh.
Page 42, we continue with the Hashkivenu, where we ask God to help us lie down in peace. Page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shamre nu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shamre nu lechaim. Ushmor setenu uvoenu lechaim shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shamre nu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom v'hamidenu shamre nu lechaim.
Page 42 in the middle of the page is where we continue. Let's read together in English. We'll conclude with the blessing, and then we'll join Danny in singing Vashamru. But first, page 42, then 44. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Please rise and join us in singing Vishamru, page 44.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Sorry. B'nei uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Please remain standing for Adonai Svatai. We ask God to help us find the words to express the thoughts and prayers in our heart. Page 46. I call Dina to come forward again. Adonai Svatai. Please remain standing in the way that works for you. Page 46.
Adonai Svatai tivta uviagite hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, may my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohe Avotinu Vehimoteinu, Elohe Avraham, Elohe Yitzhak, Elohe Yaakov, Elohe Sarah, Elohe Rivka, Elohe Rachel, Elohe Leah, Agado HaGibor VeHanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Beponei HaKol, Hasei Avot Ve'im Avot, V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hozeh U'Mashiach U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Yezerat Sarah, Tagibor Leolam Adonai, Rabbi Shia, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umehayim Emunato, Dishelei Afar, Michamocha Bal Givurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Memid, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Nemata Ehayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Oshincha Kadosh, K'im B'chol Yom, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Thank you, Dina. I appreciate you leading this part of our service. Page 55. May these hours. You're welcome to read with me the top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. The middle of page 57. You are with us in our prayer. You are with us in our prayer, our love and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for an answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levatcha b'yirah na'avod. We continue our practice of only reading odd pages in the middle of this part. God of goodness, the top of 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ocha na'eh lehodot. Please turn to page 60 and join Danny in singing Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Am Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Am Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Am Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Am Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Am Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Thank you, Danny, for the tech team and Danny, and for all of you. We're going to go right to the Mishaberach, the healing prayer, which is on page 253. There are many people in our community that are dealing with illness or challenges. Their names are on my sheet. I will add their names, some out loud and some to myself. If there are individuals who you would like to add, you can do so either in your heart or when I point to your section, please call out their name. We begin with the Mishaberach prayer on page 253.
Mishaberach avotenu Mikor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen.
We pray for Rob Zolonki, Susan Mora, Brenda Leek, Karen Hulse, Joe Manriguez, Jeff Shear, Susie Wolfson, Rabbi Howard Leibson, Kathy Schmidt, Isaiah Mauricio, Ann Jenkins, Sherry Hell, Jim Greenspan, Ted Levoot, Sue Rubin, Tom Mitchell, Estelle Windhorst, Diane Smith, Christine Smith, Sue Craven, Lori Wiesel, Robert Hagler, Sandy Levy, Susan Taylor, Henrietta Goitzman de Moya, Or Levy, Jerome Steinbrecher, Noah Argamani, Rachel Goldberg and John Poland, Yardena Bat Esther, who is Jordy Glassner, and the following individuals. I prayed for them in my heart. If you have other names you'd like to include, either put them in the chat online or just say them out now so the people closest to you will hear them. And I hope that those who do will check in with those individuals just to let them know that they're not alone in dealing with the illnesses that they or their loved ones are dealing with. Anyone in this section? Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Thank you. Thank you. Mila, did you have someone? Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you. And all the hostages and their families, we continue with the second half of the prayer, page 253.
Mi sheperach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you. We pray for those who are dealing with emotional, physical, or spiritual challenges, find the strength and the connection to others that they need. We're going to do a prayer for peace, but I invite our Social Justice Committee Chair and ICR Chair, Lori Rosenfeld, and our speaker Lee Winkleman to come forward so we can proceed with that part of the service as soon as this prayer for peace has concluded. We cry out to you from our broken hearts and our yearning hearts, asking you for the protection of human life. We hold our Jewish family in shared heartache until every captive is home. Kulanu shvim, kulanu chatufim. We are all held hostage. Please, God, bring them home to their families. We know that every human being is a whole world, and we mourn all the innocent worlds destroyed by war and violence and extremism in our time. We stand before you, united in sorrow with all the people of the world, Jews, Muslims, and Christians, Israeli, Palestinian, Druze, Lebanese. Everyone is created in your own image. We pray, we cry out for an end to war. We will never give up on the dream of a world in which every person can thrive. Holy One, as the darkness grows, help us remember that every one of us is called to lift up your vision for humanity. Shalom, shalom, l'rachok, u'lekarov. May the whole world one day be at peace. It is my pleasure to call forward our hardworking Social Action Committee Chair, Lori Rosenfeld, to introduce our speaker.
I'd like to introduce the Associate Director of Organizing and RAC California lead organizer for the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism, Lee Winkleman. You can hear in his title that he is an expert in the field of organizing, a field he has worked in since 1986. During this presentation, he will be telling us about the Religious Action Center and our role in social justice. So we welcome you, Lee. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for inviting me. I'm really pleased to be here with you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself first, and then I'm going to talk about social justice in the Reform movement and the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism. I grew up in a small temple in Pontiac, Michigan that feels a lot to me like this one feels. And so I really am pleased to be here with you tonight. It was a really important part of my life growing up. My grandparents helped start that congregation. My dad was president of the temple. My mom was president of the sisterhood. I was president of the youth group. We were very active, and I used to love to go because all my cousins, my aunts and uncles, and all my friends were there. It was a really tight community. I grew up in a suburb called Birmingham, Michigan, a suburb of Detroit. And my father did very well financially. He was the youngest of 4 brothers in the big family chain of clothing stores. But as the youngest brother, he didn't have a lot of creativity or leadership in his role there. And we used to go around the table at dinner and talk about our day. And even from a young age, I could sense that my father was not happy in his work. And I felt like the suburb I grew up in was this really homogeneous, boring, sterile place. And I thought there has to be more to life than selling women's clothing and living in Birmingham, Michigan. And when I got to school at University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, I was looking for something. I didn't know what. And somewhere midway through, I kind of found it. I sort of fell into social justice work. And I realized this is what I was looking for. I was looking for a meaningful life. Making a difference in the world was the meaningful life I was looking for. And the part of organizing that's bringing people together into community to take action together was like recreating the extended network of aunts and uncles and cousins I grew up with in my family. So I have been a community organizer ever since then, and I feel really blessed to do that. I work for the Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism. I've worked for it for more than 9 years. The Religious Action Center is the Jewish social justice effort of the Reform movement. We are part of the Reform movement. Social justice has been a part of Reform Judaism since its founding in this country in the 1800s. In the 1800s, the Reform movement was just getting started, and they set down 8 principles around which the Reform movement was going to be centered. This is the founding document of our religious tradition, and it's called the Pittsburgh Platform, and there were 8 principles. And one of those principles was about social justice, and it said, if I did not lose it, which I seem to do, what it said was, in part, it is our duty to participate in the great task of modern times, to solve on the basis of justice and righteousness the problems presented by the contrasts and evils of the present organization of society. So the idea is it is our duty to act to make sure that our values are carried out in the public sphere. Right? People say to me, well, is the Reform movement political? Well, yes and no. No, we're not political in the sense we do not support candidates or parties, right? We have people in our movement, and I'm sure here tonight, who support every party and no party and each candidates and none of the above, right? Like 2 Jews, 3 opinions, like we all support all of them. But there are certain values that we are united around. And we work to make sure that our society, our state, our country, our city, all are based on those values, right? And this has been the tradition of Reform Judaism since the 1800s, and that Pittsburgh Platform at various moments has been rewritten. But there always is one of those platforms about the need to act on our values in the public sphere, right? That is a central part of our tradition. The Religious Action Center was founded more than 60 years ago.
as the social justice arm of our movement. And we were bequeathed a building in Washington, D.C., in DuPont Circle by a very generous donor. And that building became a center of social justice, right? So Martin Luther King used to use our offices when he came to Washington, D.C., right? They didn't have their own offices in Washington, D.C. He used our offices. And the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act in the mid-'60s, they were written on our conference table. We have been involved in working on the big moral issues of the day in this way, even before the RAC was founded, but especially since the RAC was founded. Now, we don't work on issues because Lee Winkleman thinks it's a good idea, or even because my boss, Rabbi Jonah Pesner, thinks it's a good idea, right? We work on things that are passed by the Reform movement. Often they're passed at national gatherings, national meetings, where congregations come together and vote on resolutions, vote on principles. Sometimes it's through our bodies. There's the Central Conference of American Rabbis represents the rabbis. The Union for Reform Judaism represents the lay leaders in the congregations, right? Their bodies pass resolutions, right? So if there's some issue that people in California want to work on and they come to me and say, Lee, we want to work on this issue, the first thing I do is go check to see, has the Reform movement passed policies? And if not, we can't work on it. We can maybe start the process and pass a policy. That usually takes a little while. But we only work on things that the Reform movement has taken a stand on. Now, of course, just because the Reform movement has taken a stand, that doesn't mean that every single Reform Jew agrees with the stand. In fact, it's inevitable that not everyone does, right? 2 Jews, 3 opinions, right? We're not all going to agree. And we look for issues that strike at really deep principles that we share, and that we're not looking for unanimity, like for everyone to agree, because we don't all agree on everything, and if we did, it would be the most simple and basic things. But we look for things that are not polarizing, that don't split us. And we want to make sure that everyone has a voice, whether they agree with what we're doing or not, right? So these are the things we work on. And I want to, I'm sorry to those of you who I had dinner with beforehand, you're hearing this a second time. But there are 2 real ways that Reform Jews deal with social justice. One is sometimes we call social action, or it's direct service sometimes, and that's really helping the people who are in most immediate needs with their most immediate needs. So I know you all do food drives and other kinds of drives to help people, right? People help out at soup kitchens. We might help the homeless. These are people who have critical needs, and we're helping them right away. This is essential work. Almost all congregations, if not all congregations in the Reform movement, do some of this kind of work, right? The other thing we sometimes call social justice, to differentiate it here from social action, or we call it advocacy or direct advocacy. And that's really trying to get at the root causes, right? Because we absolutely have to give food to people who are hungry. But giving them food doesn't do anything about solving the problem of hunger. Right? Helping the poor does nothing about solving the problem of poverty. What advocacy does is tries to get at deeper changes in policy in order to get at these root causes and work toward eliminating hunger, poverty, the root causes of injustice. So we believe that the Reform movement has to do both, right? We have to do the direct service to the people most in need, and we have to do the advocacy to make changes in our country that will bring it closer to the values, the Jewish values that we all share. I'll just tell you what we've been doing the last year. Can I just get a time check on how much time I have? 10 minutes, okay. So nationally, and some of you may have participated in this, I don't know, but nationally the biggest thing that the Reform movement has been working on this year is called Every Voice, Every Vote. And Every Voice, Every Vote is a nonpartisan effort to strengthen democracy and also to protect reproductive freedom. Now, this was a nonpartisan, right? The Reform movement does not support candidates or parties, as I said. But what we're trying to do is make sure that everybody votes, right? Our democracy is stronger when everyone participates. And historically, there are people that there have been obstacles in the way of people participating, and some populations don't participate as regularly. And so we were part of coalition efforts to reach out to voters who had not been regular voters in the past and encourage them to vote. And we reached out by sending them postcards. We reached out by phone banks and calling people. And we reached out sometimes by canvassing, directly going door to door. So did anyone participate, either send a postcard or, all right, great, or make a phone call, or great, a few people did, that's wonderful. We had, I don't know, 10,000? I haven't heard the final numbers yet this year, but I'm guessing it's above 10,000 people who, in the reform movement, who participated in some way in the Every Voice, Every Vote campaign. As I said, we're trying to get people who are not regular voters to vote. We also do support ballot measures, right? These are nonpartisan measures. When they are things that that are deeply in line with our Jewish values. Reproductive freedom is one thing. Our tradition teaches us that we value the life of the mother over the life of the fetus until the child is born. And this has been a long-standing thing. So we supported efforts in Florida. Our Florida congregations got together, and a majority of Floridians turned out. About 58% or so, turned out and said, yes, we want to have reproductive freedom and overturn the abortion ban in our state. Unfortunately, they changed the rules, so it took 60% of the people voting in order for that to be successful. So the measure was not successful. It fell just a little short, even though a pretty overwhelming majority supported it. We also supported efforts in California, especially in Nevada and Arizona, our neighboring states. Both had measures, those both passed. And I want to say that these measures, it used to be on all the issues that we worked on, there were Democrats who supported them, and Democrats who opposed them, and Republicans who supported them, and Republicans who opposed them. And in the last several years, as we all know, things have become much more polarized, right? But we don't support them because they're partisan issues. We support them because they're moral issues. And when 58% of voters in Florida, or it was, I think, 62 or 63% of voters in Nevada, and something similar in Arizona, that's not all Democrats. That's Democrats and Republicans and independents, right? These are truly nonpartisan measures, and were supported by people of all parties. So that was our big national campaign this year. In California, we were working on climate change issues, especially we were working on issues related to oil wells. As some of you probably know, in California, there are oil wells right next to houses and schools and businesses and parks and hospitals and other similar kinds of things. And these oil wells emit gases that have horrible, horrible effects on people's health. And people who live near oil wells, they really suffer tremendously from these gases. And these are also the gases that cause global warming. So we we helped pass a measure about 2 years ago that basically says no new oil wells within 3,200 feet of houses and hospitals and all those other things. And that the people who own oil wells need to monitor the gases. If they reach a dangerous level, they need to do something about it. The next day after that measure passed in 2022, the oil companies hired people to go out to collect signatures to overturn that measure. And they lied to people. And I know this because in front of my own supermarket in my neighborhood, they lied to me. They said, do you want to sign this measure that will eliminate oil wells in residential neighborhoods? When the measure did the exact opposite. So through these lies, they collected signatures, they put it on the ballot, and it was going to be voted on this November. And we were part of a very broad, very big coalition that included labor unions and environmental groups and religious groups and all sorts of groups. And it was, Democrats and Republicans, the two governors, Governor Newsom, who's a Democrat, and Governor Schwarzenegger, who's a Republican, were spearheading this effort, along with Jane Fonda. And we were all ready, and then at the 11th hour, the oil companies saw how strongly organized we were, and they withdrew the measure because they knew it was going to fail. So we consider that a victory. It was because of the organizing we and our allies all did that they did that. And then we supported 2 bills. We had 330 some people who contacted their state senator to say, please vote for these 2 bills. And what these bills do is they basically require oil companies to shut down, to cap idle and very low producing oil wells, right? Because even though they're idle, they still emit gases unless you cap them. Both these bills passed and were signed by the governor into law. So we've done a lot of stuff this year. We don't know what we're going to work on next year. It may be another climate change measure. It could be something around housing. We are in a whole new kind of political era that started after this election. And we are going to continue to fight for our values, which we would no matter who wins an election, because there's no party that fully embraces our values, and there's no one, nothing is going to be won without a fight. So we will continue to do that. We will be taking action to protect the most vulnerable if government policies attack them, and we will be looking to do big, bold things to make a difference in social justice. So your congregation, we are not a separate organization. And we have 1 staff person for every congregation in California, right? We are able to accomplish what you all do in your congregation. So I encourage you all to think about, what are the things you most care about? What are the changes you would most like to see, right? What are the values you feel need to be strengthened in our state and our country and in your city? And think about what we can do together, right? Don't pick something that's going to polarize your congregation and cause fights, right? But don't expect it to be unanimous either. Find something that everyone can live with. I have found mostly if people feel they are heard, if people feel they are respected and listened to, they don't expect to agree with everything their synagogue does. I know that I've never agreed with everything my rabbi said, right, from the pulpit, but as long as the rabbi listened to me and respected me, even when we disagreed, I was fine with that. I think that's how most people feel. And we, we're in a very tough time with the polarization, and people kind of demonize people who have different views than they do, right? Well, our congregation is the place we got to stop doing that. And we got to start having real conversations with people, respect the differences, understand where people came from, and look for the values we share in common, right? Because I really do believe we share values more in common than we think. So I encourage you to have these conversations, to think about what you all care about, to join in on the state campaigns that RAC California, our statewide organ, is doing, and our national campaigns that the RAC will be leading for the reform movement next year. And participate for the ones that make sense for you, all right? And you are welcome to reach out any time. I'm going to be staying around immediately afterwards. So if you have any questions, please come up. I would love to talk with you further. So thank you very much. And I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Lee. Does anyone have a question or two now? Because we spoke beforehand, and that's why I have a handheld mic. If there's a real burning question that someone has, I'm happy to go by. Otherwise, we'll talk over the goodies. I did want to say, the values at the core of what it means to be a Reformed Jew are things that are admirable. We are all created in God's image. We weren't created in the image of one particular party. And I think that it's important to focus on that which binds us and not that which separates us. And I hope that going forward, the tone and tenor of the conversations and the ability to listen can both change. And so I know that going forward will be a smoother and happier, larger and immediate family of individuals if we can focus on what our needs are and really try to understand where the other person is coming from. So thank you. We look forward to talking to you and continuing to be part of the work of RAC. Let's go to page 282 for Aleinu. Please rise. Thank you.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי רצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשחרים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated if you like. That's a long list. I'll let you sit while I read the names of the people who fall into three categories: Shiva Shloshim, Kaddish, and Yahrzeit. Our community is remembering people for whom Shiva or Shloshim are being observed. These are their names: Socorro Morales, family friend of Sergio Sanchez Guzman; Sheldon Culkin, friend of Ellie Ursus; James Honigman, brother of Debbie Grossman; Sylvia Liederman, cousin of Ted Singer; Tommy Muller, uncle of Sandy Strauss; and Sergeant Ariel Sosner, a member of our extended family in Israel. The Kaddish of the year is being said for George Iribaran, Diane Wadowski, Mary Ann Kravitz, Nadav Farhi, Don Anthony Fagan, Bertha Cienfuegos, Peter Heitman, Connie Tarnapol, Howard Hoffman, Bardiela Javardi, Erno Ross, Val Paivo, Don Witt, Judy Cole, Jose Zimmerman, Joseph Glazer, Ken Kravitz, Ralph Peter Folsom, Adrian, Scott Held, David Scharf, and Laura Block. The people for whom Yahrzeit is being observed this week are Mildred Richmond, Harry Louis Culkin, Eva Del Franco, Louise Zingler, Anna Kreiser-Zurakov, Jack Gilwarg, Ruth Klein, Molly Shartov, Cindy Cunningham, Gert Brownstein, Dorothy Rubin, Sam Ursus, and William Klein. Philip Streisand, Leonard Braunstein, Joseph Robbins, Rhoda Ender, Adrian Henschel, Muriel Paivo, Rose Handel, Ruth Teitelbaum, Amelia Sugarman, Maury Gimbel, Dorothy Masserman, Ellen Hope Tews, and Leah Caesar. Are the individuals in the congregation today that have loved ones whose names they'd like to mention that fall into one of these categories? Anyone? Yes, Lori.
Sharon Rosenfeld.
Thank you, Sharon Rosenfeld. I encourage you to please rise if you're able to give support to those who are reciting Kaddish. It can be found on page 294. Yit Gadol v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, B'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'izman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah meborach le'olam u'mei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit bo'ar v'yit romam v'yit nasei, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please remain standing. Thank you, Danny, for jumping in. We always like having you here, and not only playing piano, but leading us in all of the music that we enjoyed tonight. Thank you, Dina, for also jumping in when we had illness in our leading, amongst our leaders. Thank you everyone for being here. It's easy to push aside the need to reach out to others when our own lives are so complicated. And I appreciate what Lori and her committee does to give us various options for assisting other people so we can stretch beyond what we have already been doing. Please keep in touch with myself and Lori or any member of the committee because we have different ideas for going forward. And like Lee said about the movement as a whole, if there are action items that you would like our community to focus on, please let us know. The Kiddush, page 4. Well, let's go right to page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, bekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim, Joe, l'chaim. We are about to conclude with Oseh Shalom. I've long told people that we are blessed in the Los Angeles area in particular, our country as well, with many rabbis who've written prayers, poems, reflections to help us elevate the manner in which we relate to each other, to the larger community, and to God as we understand God. Rabbi Naomi Levy was one of the first. I've known her a long time. She's written books that have been New York Times bestsellers that help fill in the gaps. Initially, there were prayers for women, so that because the men of old did not appreciate all that women needed to pray for. And I want to share now what Rabbi Levy wrote about a prayer for our country after the election. Help us, God, to unite our great country in this contentious time. Teach us to listen to one another, to heal our divisions and restore hope. The days that lie before us are ours to shape. Let them be days of repair, days when we join together to build a new future. For some of us, the results of this election were a deep blow. For some of us, they were a cause for great celebration. Our charge today must be to work through our differences and find common good, to listen and to speak with caring and empathy as we wish others to listen and speak to us. Bless us, God, with ears to hear, hearts to love, and hands to reach across party lines so that we can be sure that liberty and dignity for all is in place. Land of opportunity and dreams, we vow to protect our democracy and treasure the freedom that is our birthright. We pledge our allegiance to every soul in need and every child praying for a better tomorrow. Bless America, God, with peace, prosperity, and justice for all. And let us all say, Amen. It's great to be together. Lee, you're about to see the power of our community. I am about to say the words, Oseh Shalom, and people are going to move to the folks near them because they love them and because we appreciate you can't become close if you're not close. So we conclude with Oseh Shalom. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Jody. Thank you to the tech team. Chris, David, and Ryan. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimroma, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol kol Yisrael Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom. I want to echo what Sharon said at the beginning. Shabbat Shalom.